And we're live.
Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, did that bother you, Skip? Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great New Year. You know what? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you're locked in onto the point with
Skip.
and the king. Skip, how was your New Year's? I gotta ask you, did you storm any government buildings?
No. I did not take part in any revolutions this week. I've just been very much at home, trying to stay safe and stay away from stay away from people, which a lot of people did not manage to do in Washington the other day. I gotta say that's just a travesty. That's terrifying. It's not. Everyone's saying it's tragic. It's horrible. It's bad. Like it's scary. It's. I'm worried. I that there's no other way to put it. Like it feels like we're watching something building towards like a civil war, and it's not good. I don't know. What did you think of what you saw this week? Because it just blew me away. I've had CNN on repeat for about 72 hours.
Skip, I know you very well, and I know you've been following this, and I know it's been bothering you and it's annoying you because I got to agree with you, bro. It's absolutely atrocious, horrendous, and deplorable as to what is going on in the United States. We could go on this for hours, Skip. We could start a new YouTube channel on this, just
Yeah.
going off
Well,
on it.
I kind of wonder, like, they always say, like, I heard this mentioned a lot during the pandemic that sports is the reward for a functioning society. And I kind of wonder, like, if the US gets any more dysfunctional, like, I almost wonder, like, can sports keep going on and keep just acting like everything is normal? Because it's not normal. Like, this whole year has not been normal in the United States. And I don't know where they go from here. Like, it's scary.
Well, where we're going is I'm still upset. And I'm not just upset about the US Capitol.
Uh-huh.
I'm also upset about certain fair weather friends for your Tampa Bay, Toronto,
Oh.
yeah, the Raptors. I'm seeing this. Skip, you know I'm online all the time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing about people saying to blow it up, rebuild, tank, get rid of everybody, and I think that's deplorable. And here's my reasoning why. It might sound out of the box, but when you think about it, the Raptors were just in the bubble with multiple other teams, right? So when you think about it, these guys have only had 2.5 to maybe 2 months since the bubble where they did not get to see their family. So they're spending more time with their family over the course of that time. And they're not putting in the training. And I don't blame them because if it was you and me in that same position, we would do the same. We would rather spend the time with our family. Okay? Now, so what I see is for the first 10 games of the season, to me, it's a wash. It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. These guys are now getting back in shape. To me, it's like what I said in the last episode, Skip. Preseason! That's basically what it is. It's pretty much preseason to me because you're seeing other teams that were not in the bubble rising up in the standings, such as Brooklyn, Cleveland, New York, the Knicks. Can you believe that? They might as well need one of these.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's that's gonna go away pretty soon. I'm not too concerned about the Cavs or the Knicks. Brooklyn,
So
obviously, they've got they've
it,
got they've got a reason they're moving up.
it's going to take some time. So with what the Raptors are doing, and Skip, I got to ask you, how do you feel about the first, as of this, the 8 games, first 8 games that the Raptors have played? By the way, guys, enjoy tonight against Golden State. How do you feel about the Raptors so far going on? What is Nick Nurse doing using all the new elements? Like, what do you feel about Nick Nurse coaching the Raptors and where they're at now?
Okay, so first of all, I am concerned. I wouldn't say it means nothing. Like starting 2-6, like the Raptors of old would never start 2-6. But that said, I get what you're saying. I think it was a really quick turnaround. I think even if I look at myself, how I've been treating the first 2 weeks of this season, I've been just, I'm watching the games, but I'm a little more checked out. I've been distracted with the holidays. Like sometimes I'm watching them on a little phone, like just not paying quite attention to every detail. And I think that's kind of like, to project a little bit, that's kind of how the Raptors have been playing. Like they just haven't all been there, all been focused, all been in the right headspace. Part of it's probably the move to Tampa. It's the holidays. It's the quick turnaround. It's the COVID pandemic. It's all this stuff going on. But they've obviously had a little bit more to adjust to than even the other teams that are at least playing in their home arenas, home cities. They said they just actually stopped letting fans into the Tampa arena because the fans were all cheering for the other team. They say it's because of COVID. But
yeah, they were booing the Raps, which was absolutely horrible.
I think a lot of it is just the Raps being like, we don't want negative home court fans. That said, there are real on-court issues. I think you can maybe say, yeah, they might have lost a game or two because of not having their head in the right place. But 2-6 is a pretty embarrassing start. That's a sign like we're on the wrong path here. Like we are looking more like a lottery team than like a playoff team. So I think one thing that's been happening with Nurse is he's been really searching for answers this whole time, especially with the bench. I think just if we're just talking in general, it's been guys on the bench have been. You got one guy in one game, you got another guy in the next game. You got Matt Thomas playing the first two games and then getting benched. You got suddenly Yuta Watanabe coming out of nowhere. Like this guy wasn't even supposed to be on the team this year. He won the last roster spot on the last day of camp. And it was like, oh yeah, he's a cute story. He might get some garbage time. Now he's like their third best. He's their third best wing player all of a sudden. So I think there's been a lot of Nick Nurse just like reaching into his bag of tricks and throwing something on like spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. I do think he's starting to figure some things out now. I think he understands the team has to play smaller. They can't really rely on the bigs that they brought in. So we're seeing a lot of Boucher. We're seeing a lot of five-man out lineups, like with OG at the center. We're seeing a little bit more Malachi Flynn. Flynn, the first two games or even 3 or 4 games, he wasn't playing at all. And all over Raptors Twitter, everyone's like, get Malachi in there. We need another ball handler. So the last 3 games, he actually has been playing decent minutes. And he's not scoring a lot. He looks, to be honest, he looks a little small for the league against real big league competition. But it's just really important for the Raptors to develop ball handling and someone who can create looks for other guys. Because when it kind of just comes down to Lowry's in the game, they're okay. If Lowry's not in the game, they don't know what they're doing. So Malachi has been a really big boost. He hasn't been a big boost, but he's been showing some good signs of growth. He hasn't been
that much of a big boost. He's been showing some growth.
He's been showing some growth.
His minutes has only been about like 20 some odd.
Yeah, overall. Yeah. Not
over the last 8 games.
Yeah, no, he's only played the last 3, and he kind of struggled the first 2. He had a good game against Sacramento.
He had 2 minutes in his first game. He had 15 minutes. He sat out. Then he had 15 minutes, and then the next game he had 3, and then the last game he sat out. First game he had 1 minute.
Yeah, so the 1 and 2 minutes he's been are garbage time, so I'm not counting those. But he's had 3 games where he played real minutes, and I think they were basically the last 3 games. I'm a little confused by that, but anyway, so Nurse has been really searching, and I was kind of worried that it wasn't helping things because it was kind of like he would throw another guy out there, and then it's like, oh, we have to like play with this guy now. Like, what are we doing? Like at a certain point, you have to have, or you don't have to, but it really helps to have some kind of chemistry, some kind of expectation, knowing who you're going to be playing with.
Consistency as well.
Like with the bench mob a couple years ago, the biggest thing with that bench mob that with VanVleet and Siakam like 3 or 4 years ago was that it was the same 5 guys all year. And it was like, we know these 5 guys are going to come in and we know where we're going to be, what we're going to do. We work off each other, and it worked. So I think there's been a lot of just like, who am I playing with now? So I think as that settles in, as Nurse seems to have settled on these guys now, he's settled on Flynn and Watanabe and obviously Boucher. and Powell, obviously. I think
Yeah.
things are starting to
Well,
look
Powell's
up.
been pretty inconsistent. So.
Yeah, I think things are going to start to look up going forward. I think they're going to need to rack up some wins against bad teams. I think it'll be a while before they can really dominate good teams like they used to, but I think they can definitely get back to 500 and then kind of go from there. That's what I would say.
I still think it's going to be the six, but like you just said, Skip, Nick Nurse throwing spaghetti at the wall. I guess I ran out of juice there.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse throwing spaghetti at the wall. Well, we do know we have some consistencies for the Toronto Raptors. And number one, obviously, I don't think anybody needs to talk about this because we all know it's a fact. Kyle Lowry doing what Kyle Lowry does. Right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Kyle Lowry going on?
Well, I mean, he's obviously like he's just the ultimate no stats but wins player. Like, even if you look at the first 6 games of the season, he hasn't, or 8 games, sorry, he hasn't like blown away the stat sheet or anything. But if you look at the plus minus numbers, like the Raptors are so much better with him on the court. He will have like a +1 in a game they lose by 20. Like they're fine as long as he's on the floor. The problem is as soon as
Lowry has not got less than 16 points a game.
Yeah, well, because he's had to step up because other guys haven't been stepping up. Notably, Siakam has really struggled early on. So Lowry's been great. Lowry's been great. He's it's weird because he doesn't really take over the game like a superstar. He's always a little bit more low key than that as this kind of point guard who's running things. Let him more Chris Paul-esque, obviously. That's the comp I always use. But he's just so important to what the Raptors do, and he's been terrific. And so has Fred VanVleet, actually. VanVleet's been
that's what I wanted to ask you, because we all know that's my mom's favorite player.
Well, I mean, he's earning it this year.
Skip, did I show you the Christmas gift I got from my mom?
Oh, I don't think so.
I got her a VanVleet t-shirt, and it's digital. It's like Mario Brothers.
Oh,
she loves it.
You might have to show me that. We'll post it on our Facebook page.
I'll show you next time. But VanVleet, right now, he's earning his money, man. This guy, when I run down and I look at the numbers that he's put up, other than the third game against Philly, he's gotten nothing less than 13 points. He had one bad game against Phoenix, 13 points. But I guess he was running around behind Chris Paul since now he's starting at point guard, right? But I think he's very much so earning his money. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, so basically, the thing with VanVleet has always been he's a great shooting guard in the body of a point guard. He hits his threes. His number one job is just to come in and hit threes. When he starts dribbling the ball a lot, that's when the team gets in trouble. So this year, he hasn't really been distributing, I would say, per se. I mean, a little bit, but he still has those problems. But what he's really done is he's opened up his scoring game. So in the past, he hit his threes, but he would always be driving to the rim and then running into centers, getting his shot blocked, like just missing layups. And he didn't really have a pull-up game. Like his mid-range shots were not falling at all before this year.
Dude, you really think about his assists? Because the first game he got 3 assists. The second game he got 9 assists. The next game he got 6, then 7, then 5, then 3, and then back to 7 and 7.
Well, I mean, he's playing the point guard position. I'm not saying he's not playing point guard. I'm just saying he doesn't dominate the offense as a point guard in the same way that Lowry does.
Okay.
He's better as, a bit more off ball or something. But anyway, back to my point was that before this year, he really struggled with his mid-ranger, and he really struggled to finish at the rim if he was going against tall guys, or just because he's small. Like it was really easy for him to get stuffed if he was driving. And this year, he seems to be doing a little better. I haven't really dove into the advanced stats or anything, but it looks from the eye test that he's really nailing that little 20-foot jumper, and he's finishing more at the rim. So I think that those are the big things that I'm seeing from him.
Okay, so Skip, I got to ask you about another member of the core of the Toronto Raptors.
Pascal, right?
Siakam, I did the math, right? And as of this recording, he is when it comes to point differential, he's a minus 41 overall. He had that one good game against Sacramento where he's plus 17, but every game, adding it up to minus 41. I see a lot of people calling to trade him and get rid of him. I've confronted some of these people about, like, when you thought he was nice, it was because Kawhi was here, so therefore he was a second option. But now every team knows, and their defensive scheme knows that he's the first option.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think this fits into him and his young career and what he's doing right now?
Well, I think there's a lot going on. He really struggled the first 6 games of the season, and the last 2 he's looked a lot more like himself. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think the main thing is just that he's not getting into his rhythm in the paint. He'll make a couple threes and he'll think he's a 3-point shooter, and then he'll kind of drive and get shaky and nervous and pass off. The thing that when he was good 2 years
It's a
ago,
lack of aggression right now.
it was lack of aggression, but it's also the thing that made him so great was the spin move. He was spin cycle. He was spin cycle Siakam. He would drive. He would go one way. He would blow past you. I don't see him doing that spin move as much anymore. He's working other stuff into his game. Oh, here we go. He's working some other stuff into his game, and some of it's working out for him. He's passing better. He's got some other little moves in the paint now where he can sort of go up and hit a little teardrop or something. But I think to some extent, I mean, I don't know how much of this is teams double teaming him or just putting the right defenders on him. I think that has a lot to do with it. But because the thing with Siakam is he's never been a strong guy. He's always been a speed guy. He's always been a finesse guy. So if you just sort of get him out of that mode, it's not like he can just bully himself to the rim. He's got to be beating guys. He's got to be getting the step on guys. And if he's not doing that, I think he runs into some problems. So we'll see if this persists. I do think I'm a little worried about his upside. I think people who are like, oh, he's going to take another leap this year or next year, like he can get back to being a really, really good player. But he might have topped out. We might be just trying to get him back to what he was before. And I've always been concerned, he could turn into the worst aspects of Russell Westbrook, where he's jacking threes, he's playing a little bit out of control. That's the worst version of Siakam I can see. So I think the key for him is just to make the right decisions, to be aggressive, to draw those double teams and pass out. And obviously the rest of the team has to be there picking him up if he's running into problems, because if he's running into double teams, and I think even against the Celtics, he was like, that's the thing. Against the Celtics in the 6th game, the last game, he really struggled. I think the Celtics were playing him really good, well defensively, and then they got
7 for 15.
Yeah, but I think the Celtics were really getting into him and not letting him go off, because they obviously played him in the playoffs and they sort of had an idea how to play him. Then the next game he goes out against the Suns, and the Raptors started to fall behind, and I think the Suns started just playing one defender on him instead of 2, letting him get and suddenly he's like, I could do this, like I could beat you, like. So it's still going to be a challenge for him when teams are really loading up on him. But I think if he can just get back some of that confidence, some of that drive, some of that finesse around the basket, then the rest of the team needs to pick him up. He's not a first option. He's not a superstar, but he can be the guy. He can be a guy. He's a guy.
I agree with you on this 100%, Skip.
Yeah.
And this is going to bring me to the next question I got to ask you. After watching the game against the Sacramento Kings, okay, speaking of Pascal, he had 32 points, 9 rebounds. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 12 assists, going small ball.
Wait, he only had 17? He only had 17 in that game?
Yep. He went 7 for 11.
Oh, wow. I thought it was more. Okay.
No, he had 17 points. But however, 9 boards, 12 assists. 12 assists constitutes 24 points right there on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Raptors going with the small ball against Sacramento Kings and if you think they should do that consistently going forward against the rest of the league.
Well, so I think that's important. I think it's important that they went small ball in that game. You got to keep in mind it's Sacramento. And first of all, they're Sacramento. They're not good. But
Who?
second of
Who?
all, yeah. But second of all, they're a small team that doesn't play any defense. So I think there were some certain matchup things with that game specifically where it was the perfect storm for guys like Siakam to just go off because they could run the floor and not have to worry about things, and it just kind of turned into a track meet. Really high scoring game. Just checking your numbers.
Boucher killed it. Van Vliet killed it.
Yeah.
Even
So
with Lowry out.
oh yeah, you're right. 17 points. So yeah, I mean, I think that was a really good matchup for the Raptors just to get going. Like they just needed a win, and for them to just play fast and small in that game. It really, like, you saw the Kings come out and start shooting the lights out, and they went up like 15 or 20 points in the first quarter. And then, and we were kind of nervous. Like, this seems 1-6, and now they're going to lose to the freaking Kings.
We were kind of nervous. Shout out to Andrew Reese tagging us on that. I saw you freaking out about it, buddy. Damn!
But at the end of the day, the Raptors were like, hey, like, you want to play this game? Like, we could play this game all night. Like, and they just ran them out of the gym, basically. So I think going forward, Boucher has definitely claimed the center spot. I think he's been the best.
That's what I got to ask you about.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question, Skipper. Sorry to cut you off, but this is still going on in your point. Okay. A lot of Raptors fans have been out there, and I've seen a lot of stuff that they've been saying. And who do you want to just center, Baines or Boucher? I think you just answered this. I'm asking you a question of the rhetoric sort.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Baines has not played well. Alex Len got the start against Sacramento and got completely run out of the gym. I do think to some extent there might be room for matchups there, just because Boucher's he's as skinny as I am. And if you're going up against a guy like an Embiid or just a really big bruising center.
A Giannis.
Well, I don't even know if Giannis qualifies.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, maybe some of those guys. Although even those guys, I think you're better off with OG as guarding them. But the thing is, like, there's going to be the odd center where or even a Jonas Valanciunas is a great example, where you're just going to need a big, sturdy body in the center just to fight for rebounds, just to beat him up in the paint. But I think going forward, Boucher has earned the center spot, and I think hopefully he'll get the lion's share of starts going forward at center, and they can pair Boucher and Siakam and really just go small, and then sprinkle in those other two guys. Because here's the thing with Baines. Like, Baines, you look at him, and I remember him being a pretty good player with the Celtics, but first of all, he's 34. That's really old for a basketball player, so he might just be washed.
Hey, that's not old, man.
For an NBA player, that's not young. For an NBA player, that's not young. He's 34. Second ball, he's been out for a year. So there's some hope that, maybe he's just a little out of shape. He's just got to get his game back. He's just a little off kilter, and he'll figure it out over the course of the year. But I'm not betting a lot of money on that. And the third thing is he had COVID. So, I mean, there could be some residual effects to that. We don't really know. But he is not.
Second game, he was all right.
Well, he has not looked good. He's not looked consistent. Yeah.
13 points, but then the last two games that he played, he put up donuts.
Yeah, he's barely scoring. He's missing all these bunnies inside. He's barely rebounding. Like I said, there are going to be matchups for him. I think he's
a combined 0 for 7. Yeah.
And 0 for 7, and most of that's
in
layups.
2 games.
Most of that's layups. Like, keep in mind. So I think he's got to be on the bench. He's going to get sprinkled in here or there, get a chance or two to show some stuff, but they cannot rely on him. Alex Len, I don't really like Len, but I was happy with them throwing Len out there last game just because I think he's a bit younger than Baines. He might have a little bit of potential as I don't even know what to compare him to. Just a big body in the center, a big rebounder. They got Biombo almost.
I like that, Skip, because you know what? When I was looking at Len's numbers, I've noticed his consistency.
Yeah.
First
I'm,
game, first game he didn't play. Third game he played, he went 1 for 1. Next game he went 3 for 3 on 3-pointers. Next game he went 1 for 2. Next game he went 0 for 1, and the next game he went 0 for 1. Right? He's only taking minimal shots, but he's
yeah.
also playing minimal minutes. He's
Yeah.
not. He's averaging like 5 minutes a game, 4 minutes a game,
That's the thing. Len has
and
outplayed
good for
Baines.
him.
Len has outplayed Baines so far, and he's also 6 years younger. I don't think and Len is anything great. I don't think he's going to be a star in this league. But I think if you decide that Baines is just completely washed up, then maybe you can work with like a Boucher most of the time, and then Len is that guy you throw up against the JV or an MB just to muck it
Just a
up.
body.
Maybe just a body,
Yeah.
get a couple of shots off, play 10 or 15 minutes. I don't think he's a guy you want to give major minutes to, even at the best of times. So I
No.
think that's how they have to roll with it, and that's got to be a position they look at upgrading next year. It's a problem, and they're
Next year or this year?
or
Do you
this
think they
year.
should do that this year?
Well, that gets into way
Also,
bigger questions, which is
yeah,
just
yeah. There's a
hard.
lot of trades that could possibly happen, and you and I are going to cover that very soon for you guys out there, because it's going to get pretty deep.
Yeah, it just depends if they're going to be contenders or not. If they're going to be contenders, they need to upgrade this year. If they're going to be this 8-9 seed type team that they're looking like so far in the year, then maybe they just roll with what they got, because I don't think you make a big trade for a center just to finish 7th or something. But yeah.
So what do you think? Contenders or playoff filler? Contenders or pretenders?
I mean, I don't think they're contenders. I think the bigger question is, are they a 500 team or are they a lottery team at this point?
500.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll get back to it. I think they'll be a 7 seed or a 6 seed or something, but they're going to have their work cut out for them. They're going to have to start by winning this game against Golden State tonight, finding their identity. That's the main thing with the Nurse juggling lineups. They just have to find their identity, figure out how they want to play.
Exactly.
Even that game against Sacramento, they played all offense, no defense for a lot of that game. And that's not the Raptors we know. We know the Raptors as a really good defensive team that struggles on offense. So I think
that's what Powell, Van Vliet, and Lowry want from the team. They want it to be a defensive team. Go on.
Yeah, so I mean, they're just going to have to find their identity. They're going to have to get back to 500. And I think once they get back to 500, they'll be sort of a gritty team. But I think like they kind of remind me of that. You know how the Heat are some years, where some years they're really good, and then other years they're just like really annoying to play. Like they'll be like, hey, these guys kind of suck, but like they're still like 43 and 35 or something. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think they'll be a team like that just sort of, they're just going to gut out some wins. They're going to be fine. But I think as far as contenders, I think we got to look towards next year at least. But we'll see. We'll see. They could prove me wrong.
Hey. In the words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible.
Yeah. In the
right?
words of Jim
You never
Carrey.
know what can happen.
In the words of Jim Carrey, so you're saying there's a chance?
That's my favorite part of that movie. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's game for your Toronto Raptors.
Don't even go there.
Playing against the Golden State Warriors with the one and only the chef, Steph Curry, on the opposite side. He's been damaging a lot recently, so hopefully the Raps can still pull out a win tonight, and maybe you guys can be satisfied and go to work and enjoy your Monday morning with a smile on your face, knowing your Raptors won.
And the world's not ending, hopefully.
Oh, Skip. Well, hey, what are you saying tomorrow? You want to go like just walk by a government building?
Go down to Queen's Park. I saw some videos. There's a video now of this guy who got pulled off a flight, and he was so mad. He's like, "You're calling me a terrorist?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah, too bad he wasn't brown and Muslim.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're here for you. Skip and I are back. We hope you guys enjoy the new year and everything that comes with it.
All right.
And we hope you guys enjoy tonight's Raptors game. We hope you guys enjoy seeing what your Raptors are going to do. I hope you guys give some positive vibes towards your Raptors to get them going, because you know they don't have a home crowd right now. it's Skip. I don't know about you, but I feel it's unfortunate that in Tampa Bay, the workers that are down there are booing the Raps during their home games. This must be detrimental to their mentality and how they're reacting. So guys, hang in there like they're hanging in there. Let's all do it together. What is that? What was that? What did that guy say? We the what?
We the South?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going for.
But we're still here in Toronto, and we love our Raptors. Skip.
Yeah.
I hope you're optimistic for the season. Guys, I hope you guys are as well. I hope you guys enjoyed us this evening. You guys know where to find us. Right there, Dougie J's on Skip, at King Hussein, myself, To The Point on Instagram, To The Point on Facebook, To The Point on YouTube, which is where you're watching us right now. You better be, unless you're bootlegging it. Then you owe some money. Skip, can I sign off?
Yeah, let's go enjoy that Warriors game.
All righty. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.